how to fit bathroom lock and the handle. So I'm gonna have this is one of the bathroom locks. So it's different than lock with a key because you've got a square spindle hole for the handle and a smaller square spindle hole for locking thumb turn. Locking thumb turn is here. That's a locking thumb turn, and the handle set is here. Cartridge design, lock by union. So first of all, we're going to establish the height, which is usually up to 1 meter. So it's like between 950 mil and 1 meter. You can find whatever that size or height is to match as here is with a center panel. So it's center of the center panel, that's where the handle is going to go. So not center of the lock, but the spindle for the handle is going to go on that height. On that height there. So I'm going to get it on that height and mark up with a pencil top and bottom of the body of the lock. As that, you can see top and bottom pencil mark. Then you're going to find a center point. Please use a tape measure. I already pre-marked a little point there where the center point is. So now we're going to get a drill bit, flat bit or auger that's going to be slightly bigger in size than this lock body, and you're going to drill a series of holes there, like that, series of holes, and then we'll use a sharp chisel and clean that up. The lock body measures 16 millimeters, so I'm going to use 20 millimeter bit, flat bit. That's going to leave a little bit of play around it. Make sure that the bit you use, drill bit, it's not bigger than a faceplate. It has to be smaller, as this. Put in a drill, and I'll drill a series of holes all the way down between top and bottom line. Very important, make sure that your drill bit is level, so don't lean it up or down, and also keep it straight into the door. Don't get out on the face or back of the door. It has to go straight in. You just heard clutch engaging because my drill was on the wrong setting. It was on a clutch operated, it should be on the drilling setting, so it's without clutch, because you got the hammer, drilling, and then torque settings on the clutch. So anyway, once the holes are there, then we are going to use a sharp chisel and clear that lock hole. Right, with sharp chisel, keep pushing in mean, it's quite hard to do it with one hand. I will clear this out a bit more controllably with two hands. I can hold the door a bit easier. Actually might be right. Good. It's good. I didn't sharpen the chisel not long ago, so it's nice and sharp. Let's get a most misused tool in the history. A square hole cleaner. So this is our sawdust cleaner from square holes. Sometimes it can be used as a screwdriver. Right, once the hole is there, the lock goes in. Lock faceplate. Now, at this point, you can hold the lock with one hand and mark up around with the other hand, or you can actually put two screws, one on top, one on the bottom, to hold the lock in place whilst you're marking up. Now, I would usually hold the lock with one hand and mark it up with the other hand, but because I'm doing this single-handedly by holding camera with one hand. Stanley knife. I'm going to change this blade because it's blunt, and then what you do is score around the lock faceplate all the way around. Don't use pencil, use a knife, because you will get nice and precise line to cut into. Right, the blade changed. Some people will try to be politically correct and say, oh, I can't call it Stanley knife, it's a utility knife. Well, I can, because it's made by Stanley and it's a model 99E, the very basic one, very good. So I'm calling it Stanley. And this is going to give us a nice and precise marking line, because we will need to chisel in this lock into the edge of the door, and it has to be as deep as this faceplate is. Now, once it's marked up, take screws out, faceplate out, lock out. Now we have our markings that we're going to cut this lock in. You can see the worker's hands. You can see I don't work in office. Right, again, sharp chisel. The faceplate is inch, so we need chisel inch. You can use 3/4 inch, anything you got, as long as it's sharp. Right, I've set the camera. I hope it's going to stop. I don't think it is. Right. Hope it's going to stay like that. Try to do it in a real time. So, with the foot we hold the door for moving left to right. We got our inch chisel, we got bottom mark, top mark. Always turn, got flat bit of chisel and angled bit of chisel. The flat bit always turns to the outer side, so when I'm going top, the flat bit is turned the up. When I'm doing the bottom bit, the flat bit is turned down. Once the top and bottom is down, then I'm using a 2-inch chisel, and much gentler, because I don't want to split the door. I'm doing left and right vertical cut. Don't go mad on them. Cross cut, you can go a bit more power. Then you need to do, especially on these clutches, few hits. Use router. I still do it old-fashioned way because, in my opinion, different blocks, different sizes, you have to have various jigs, adjustable jigs, lots of equipment to carry for one block, 5-minute job. It's not really my cup of tea. Chisel is much more versatile, with more uses than just setting the lock in. Now that it's nice and sharp, put the video on sharp in the chisel. Now let's try the lock in. Usually it's good if the faceplate is ever so slightly prouder than the edge of the door. It needs to go a bit more in. Most misused tool. So on the top needs to go a bit more in. Just a fraction. There we go. Save the shoulder. And that is nice and flush. The edge of the face plate is slightly rounded, and for that little radius, which is a quarter of a millimeter or even less, that's how much this plate is actually prouder than the edge of the door. So it doesn't feel sharp or it doesn't feel intrusive when you run your hand over it. Now, next step. Next step is marking these two spindles. One is there. Here's 1/8. Now, the top hole, I'll drill with 18mm or 3/4 inch. Make sure you hold drill nice and level. Bring it to the other side. Flat bits, all the bits will be a bit more gentler, but they're in the van, can't be bothered to go and get up. smaller spindle. I'm using 16mm or 5/8. For people who don't do metric. Now, this lock, because the way how door shuts, the latch is wrong way around, so it needs to be reversed. Luckily, it is reversible, so I'm going to reverse this to other side. Right, to reverse this latch, you need to pull it out, rotate it, push it back in. Now it's correct way around. Set the lock in. Face plate. Screw on the bottom. Screw on the top. So that's one lock set in. It's quite neat. The main reason why it's neat is because I use Stanley knife blade, or some people utility knife blade, because it's so thin and sharp and you can score really fine mark instead of using a pencil, which is really just for writing, to be honest. If you need precise mark, not for marking up, use the blade. Now, next step would be setting the handle. This handle has got back plate that fixes on first, and then the handle itself bolts through onto that. So I'm going to do a few little holes with the back plate. You see it's got little lugs that will correspond to the top and bottom of the handle. And then we've got these two holes here, the lug holes that needs to be set into the door. So I'm going to use a spindle, centralize, and just push into the door. This being aluminium, I've marked up two little holes there. Now I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. Once it's marked up, take a little drill bit. I've got HSS drill bit, got 6.5mm. And drill each one of them holes for the lugs. Do it from both sides. This lock is a lock that allows bolt to go all the way through. Once that is done, I can set these plates on. one of the lugs, it's got countersink for the screw to go all the way through. The other side has got thread, so the screw that comes from the other side can be screwed into it. Once it's on, the screws. Different lengths. Put screw on the other side. Different lengths for different door thicknesses. Now, I have used the shortest screws, and they do protrude out, so I'll have to check on the handle. Is it going to be too far? Yes, it does not go in to the oval hole, so I need to cut these two screws off. Either hacksaw or little grinder. And back to the van to get a little hacksaw. Right, changed my mind. I'm lazy. Use a disc cutter. Right, that's excess of screw out of the way. The spindle should have Allen keys somewhere. Right, let's check what size that's got. So 3mm. Yeah. Tighten one side. Locate it onto the lugs. Get the other handle. Push it in from the other side. And then tighten the Allen key on the other handle. That's how handle gets fixed too. From both sides on the spindle, sandwiching the door. Once that is done, we got these bezels. Screw them on. The other one. Now, the locking bit, thumb turn. Very similar. Face plate. This bit goes on outside of the door. When door is unlocked, make sure that slot is upright. Because that's how any person that is coming to the door can say that toilet is engaged or vacant. Holding the little spindle from other side, dead on its center. Center it up. Hammer with a handle. Couple gentle taps, and that will mark up how to points of our two lugs. Then again, little HSS drill bit, 6.5, could be 7 mil, doesn't matter much, and gently drill that into position. That's it. Now we need to mark up the other side. The other side, or for the other side, is a bit different. Let me try to do it this way. Because spindle is quite long. Oh, actually, it's not too long. Again, line it up. Get a hammer. Rubber handle, this is lined up, couple little cups, good markings, little drill bit, drill the holes for the lugs, take the bezel off. Should have a little Allen key. Yeah. And a little grub screw. Usually they fit the grub screw in. Don't know why they didn't this time. Then little plate into the holes, Allen key, grub screw facing down, please, in an unlocked position. How you turn it. Before we do that, we'll use short screws and join these two plates. Oh, we can't join them. One reason, this lock does not have provision for pushing through there. It doesn't matter, because we're using a grub screw. It's going to hold it tight anyway. What I'm going to do is turn this and sit better. Aha! Common thing. Spindle is too long. Only for a little bit, so I'm going to take about 5-6 millimeter of 1/4 inch. Oh, it's a dream! Allen key into the grub screw, same size again, 3 millimeter. The little screws had some blue paint on it, some kind of Loctite. More tight. bezel. Now, that section is done. See that? See that? There is no slack or anything. Now, easiest way to transfer latch marking onto the frame is take a carpenter's pencil and rub a little bit of graphite on the very tip of the latch. Pull the handle down so it retracts the latch. Close the door, release the handle, and jiggle the door a little bit. When you open the door, it will show you, in this case, this is the top mark of the latch. So our hole for the latch will have to be there. That's the edge of the hole, and about there, slightly up above the latch mark. So that's the first marking you do. Then you take a striking plate. Striking plate goes in like that. You just turn it upside down or inside out, so you can line up with these two marks. Then inside bit you can mark up with a pencil, outer bit you mark up with Stanley knife. So I'm going to turn the camera off so I can do that. Need two hands. Right, once it's all marked up, as you can see, it's been like that. You can see the top line. We've got one right against the doorstop. It's quite a big plate. It's designed for thicker doors, 45mm door. This is only 36mm door. So, got lines there. Now, for the center bit that we're going to cut first, we have this sleeve, a pocket sleeve. Now, that will need to be cut in first. So I'll have to mark up, taking that in count, and center it up and mark up around, so our pocket sleeve gets marked around that hole. Just bear with me a second. Right, there is marked up, as you can see, outline of this pocket sleeve. So I'm going to do a series of holes, chisel that out, and then this sleeve will be able to go in. Once that is drilled out, then I'm going to chisel out seat for the striking plate to set nice and flush with the frame. Same as on the door, once we got holes drilled, I'm going to use a chisel. And then once that is all cleared out, chisel out a frame for our striking plate, and then it goes the sleeve with the notches facing outside for these little adjusting plates to go into that part of the sleeve. I need two hands for that, so bear with me a moment. And that is the striking plate fixed with the sleeve inside. And that's how you fit the lock. Let me check the locking part of it. what I'm going to do now is, see, slight little gap on top, slight little gap on the doorstop on the bottom, and it's tight on the lock side. I'm going to knock this doorstop inwards slightly to make it a bit gappy because it's too tight. Once the paint goes on, this door will not latch properly, so I'm going to knock this piece of wood and literally just knock it where every fixing is out into the toilet to allow for that slight gap. Just done that. Literally use this offcut of laminate flooring and then just tapped it with a hammer on the end on each fixing. Just to tap it in a little bit, and I'm going to show you that now. This is important bit. It's got little rattle because that gap is needed for paint. Because once the door gets a couple of coats of paint on, because that's only factory prime on, and the frame gets a couple of coats of paint, that gap will disappear and door will shut tight as when I done it first time. That it's nice sound. Listen to that. And that's how you set the lock in to the door, bathroom lock. Thank you for watching. Any questions, any comments? Pop it down in the comment box below. If you like it, thumbs up. If you like some more things, please let me know what would you like, because I do loads of stuff. And yeah, I'm open for any comments. Please ask questions if you have any. All the best. Thank you.